Hi, good morning, everyone. I see many of you have joined. How are you all doing? How are your classes going on? And how's your preparation going on for this particular subject? My name is Prachi Garg, and I will be taking a few sessions starting from today, which is about report writing. And I believe that you have already gone through basics of English and business writing already. And you are pretty much clear with that as well. So whenever I start with my class, I always mention something and I always share it with the students with the current, whichever batch is there, that this subject is not just a subject to pass the exam or, just to get like 40 marks and get good score and just get done with it. This subject is something that will actually help you throughout your life, no matter what you do in life, no matter what profession you choose eventually, you become a CA or you do not become a CA, whatever you're doing. Like this is something that is integral part of your professional life, your personal life. This is called business correspondence and reporting for a reason, because when you start working professionally, these things will come into play. As communication, and specifically English communication, is very important to grow in your particular professions. And you should know how to write well. You should know how to speak well. You should know how to basically convey your thoughts in correct words. You should know how to articulate your thoughts in words. And so that there's no confusion. And everybody basically gets the right meaning across, because use of bad language and use of bad communication can convey wrong things as well, right? And then the confusion starts and the business suffers, right? So this is what this is about. Teach you the skills, how to write effectively, or how to use your language, your grammar, your punctuations correctly, right? Are you able to get what I'm trying to say? Hi, Jia, good morning. I've already got your message. Okay, few rules in my class. Please keep your study material handy. Okay, one. Usually, I'm always looking at the query list. So please do not worry, even if I don't respond, I am looking at your query. And as I see it, I repeat things. And if somebody wants me to explain something else, I do that. I give sufficient time. I don't run too fast. So be patient. Like, for example, one of you is just writing good morning, good morning, good morning. I've got it. I've already wished you guys. Don't write it again and again. Okay. Yes, if I tell you that I've missed your query, I'm not able to find your query, then you can resend it to me and then I will answer your question. Right. But mostly I try to answer the question side by side. Okay. So one is this thing. Second is that I ask a lot of questions and I expect the response in the query box. You have to be very quick with that to, basically respond to the answers here. And so that I also know that how much you are getting and how much you are understanding and how if we are on the same page or not. Right. And it also helps in better understanding. The other thing is that okay. All right. So are you ready for today's class? Shall we start? Oh, yes. I wanted to tell you that at times I tend to speak a little fast in terms of my speed. So if you think that I'm too fast in speaking, then you would just tell me to, slow down my speed so that, you understand. If you do not understand something, you can feel free to ask me and feel free to tell me that, ma'am, we don't understand this. Please tell us again. All right. I won't mind doing that at all, because this is what I'm here for. All right, so let's start with report writing. Now, what is report writing? What do you understand by the word report? Right? I think you've already done article writing. Are you already done with article writing? So you will be able to answer for the report as well. I'm expecting the responses, please. What do you understand by report writing? Yes, article writing is done. You're right. I've checked already. Okay, write briefly about an incident that happened in past. Um, okay, I'm not sure about the past word, but yes, about writing about any incident. Quickly, guys. Writing about the event that has happened, writing about the event that has happened. Expressing an event, what does that mean? Expressing an event. Vansh, let me first explain what report writing is. Then only I can tell you what is the difference between article and report. It's an official writing, good. It reports about the fact after thorough investigation, good point. Akansha, you need my help for what? Anything in particular? All right, I'm going to share my PPT here. 1 second. Now, report writing is basically an account given for a particular event, issue, subject, especially in the form of official documents. So report writing is usually an official form of writing, right? Even if you are writing for, business purposes also, even if you are writing for the business purposes, it is an official document, right? It gives you an account of a particular event, issue, subject, right? When I say subject, it also means that probably you're working on some project and you have to write a project report, so that is a subject. Any issue that has happened, any mishappening that has happened that you need to report about, or any event, any particular event that has taken place. It is presented after thorough investigation or consideration by an appointed person or a body. Now, there's one person who particularly writes the report, the person who has been given this responsibility to write the report writing. Now, in report writing, you have to be factually correct. Your information has to be correct. You are not basically talking about your opinion and your views and your interpretation about things. No. In report writing, you basically a report about the event, about the issue as it is. Am I clear? So you basically do not, interpret the situation as per your understanding, you basically write it something that has happened as it is. Okay, you are no one to decide if it is right or wrong. You are just saying it. Now, in article writing, what do you do? In article writing, you write and you, of course, talk about your interpretation of things as well, right? But in report writing, you do not do that. Now, it is written for a defined purpose and for a specific audience, which is so obvious. Now, there's a defined purpose for it, that why you are writing a report writing. There has to be a purpose, right? Now, for example, on a road, there was a major accident that happened. Okay. And the fault was of the red light system also. And the fault was that there was one person who was doing rash driving, and there was one person who was basically, moving correctly in his lane, and he was not doing anything illegal, ethically wrong. But still, this accident happened. Now you have to report, right? So basically, your defined purpose is to write about this incident so that people are more careful while driving. One. Second, to bring and to throw the light on the system, the red light system, that in this particular area, this happened with that red light. And so, there was a confusion between red and green light. Everything was on. And you basically want people to be aware about what happened, right? So that is a defined purpose. Now, for a specific audience, now who's your specific audience in such a case? Your specific audience is the people who drive. Yeah, people who are drivers. Like, so kids won't be interested to read this report, right? I'm talking about not just kids, I'm talking about the young adults as well. The people who do not know how to drive, they won't be interested in a report. But people who drive, and the other thing is people who pass from that area, they usually take up that road to travel to their home or travel to back to their office. Right. So this is your specific audience who would be interested to read this. Now, for example, the news comes, there's some report about a particular area of Delhi, like maybe Janakpuri or maybe Rajori Garden or maybe South X, any particular area. So people around that area would be interested to know what happened in our area. Right? Not everybody would be interested. Somebody sitting in Mumbai or somebody sitting in Bangalore won't be much interested in listening or hearing that what happened. Right? So that is how you design your specific audience. Now, the information and evidence are clearly stated in a concise manner. Now, you cannot write report without any evidence. Now, you cannot just, like I just said, you cannot write your interpretation about things and general viewpoint about the things. You cannot do that. You have to be specific, and you need to have evidence for it. If somebody questions you, or basically you need to basically mention. Now, for example, there is a report about an accident. So probably you will have an evidence on what police person told you, what was the investigating officer told you, right? So that is your evidence, what information he gave you, right? And on a particular that accident, if any evidence was found and whatever thing that basically justifies your report, you need to mention that as well, so that people know that this is factually correct. This is not just something that is spoken in the air. Are we clear? Any problem? Any problems so far? Hi, what is not clear? The PPT. 1 second. Is it clear now? Oh, another thing that I wanted to show to you guys was something that will give you more specific detail. Uh-oh. Now, this is more detailed about that what is report writing. Now, report writing is a well organized and methodically presentation of facts. Basically, there's a proper presentation format, and this is well organized thoughts, right? Then there is a description of any event or occurrence. Of course, a report has to be about that. Then it is written in sequential form, like because it's a report, so there has to be a particular sequence that needs to be followed. You can't pick one point from this happened and that happened and that happened. No, there has to be a sequence to it. Presented after thorough investigation. You have to write it after your investigation. You cannot write something that you are not sure of, because it will be ethically wrong to give wrong information out there, right? Then we talk about and there's no personal viewpoint involved. So basically, this is why you need to be very clear. Written for specific audience. Of course, this is written for any kind of specific audience. Any kind of writing skill, I would say, is written for a specific audience, right? Even if you're writing an article, so there is a specific audience for it, right? Then the evidence information stated in a concise manner. You basically, state your evidence and your information in a very concise manner, nothing in details. Of course, nobody wants to read something too much, just too much into details. So you have to be very concise. And sometimes when we are giving too much of details, we lose the essence. Akash, I will do that. I will share the notes. Amit, in exams, when you do such writing skills, you have to make up things. We are talking about a real life situation. But for exams, of course, you need to. Sorry, that was a reflection of a child. So, Bhavna, we will talk about the word limit. We'll talk about everything. But Akash, Amit has a question that for exams, how do we know about the facts and figure? Now, for exams, you just talk makeup. What the examiner would say is if all the features of report writing is covered or not. That's all, right? You should know how to write it. Okay, Swati, am I too fast? Okay, I'll give you a minute to process everything and then we'll move forward. Are we clear with the features of writing? Any problem so far? Okay. Oh, yes, I do. Akanksha, you can send your responses here, and I see that, so you know that I've been reading your comments. All right, so let's move forward. Features are clear. Now let's talk about the types of reports. Now, there are three types of report writing that we do, and there are specific formats for that. We will be studying each format one by one, and then we will be doing the practicing in today's class and in the next class, right? So now the first kind of type of report is the magazine report, which is written to give account of any event that has taken place. For example, any annual day, right? Any annual day, any award function that has taken place. This is basically a report to give an account of what happened at that event. For example, like who all came, who all attended the event, how was the event, what was the response, what were people's reaction in the event. If anything, mishap that happened in the event, you can mention in your report. If there was a surprising element in that event, you can write about that. But whatever that happened, not anything from your mind. What you saw, just write in a sequential form, right? Next comes the newspaper report, which is about the account of current event or happening. Now, newspaper report could be about anything. It could be about any political event. It could be about any, unfortunate event, any mishappening that happened. So all of this is report writing, right? So you know that people who basically report, they're called reporters, right? So on the TVs, in the newspapers, they're called reporters because they're reporting about an event. How you was basically supposed to report about the event, like what happened and how it happened, what is the progress happening, how much the project is done so far, what are resources have been used, and what all we need next. So everything has to be reported. Are we clear? Any problem? Any problem so far, guys? Then I'll take you through the layouts. Please don't send me blank messages. It gets very confusing. Okay, shall I move on? Okay, so now look at the different formats. Now for newspaper report writing, it is basically a title or a headline. Then in the by, we write the name of the author. Then there is a place and a date. So basically, in the newspaper report, you're supposed to talk about a place where it happened. Now, the newspaper, the happening could be in Bhopal, it could be in Bhubaneswar, it could be in Guwahati, it could be in Delhi, Punjab, anywhere. So how will somebody get to know that where did this thing happen? You have to specify for newspapers that this is a place and this is the date, and then you start with your report. Newspaper report is simple, right? Next comes the magazine report writing. It's even more simpler because when you're writing about the magazine report, you don't need to mention this place because one, you're writing about a specific magazine and you are also basically covering the specific state's events, right? So you basically don't need to mention the place and the date again. Here it is simple, title or headline, by, name of the author, and the body of the report starts. Am I clear? We will be practicing, don't worry. This is just to give you the idea about what is the format. Now, in this one, I'm not sure if you're able to. One second. Let me increase the font size for you all. Okay, so in the official writing, you basically write the heading, then you write to, from, like who, from whom this report is going to whom. Okay, then date, subject, and introduction, and what this project is about and what this report is about. Then you give details for the task and reasons for it. Then the main body starts, basically your report about the specific topic. Then the information, resources, and material used. Then description of a task, results, conclusion, and your evaluation and suggestions. Now, this is different from newspaper and magazine report because those two things are very different. This is when you are talking about any proposal or any project that is ongoing, right? And so basically writing about that, and then you will have a lot of information also about it. Are we clear? Shall we start looking at the samples? Yes, Vansh. You, for any newspaper, you need to mention the place. Okay. Okay, official report has two types of formats. Let me share another one with you that is pretty much more detailed. I'm going to show you your study material. If you have your own study material, you can open it. Now, in format number 2, you basically have a title page that includes to, name of a person, report being submitted to. Also, when you are submitting your assignments in your MBA colleges or maybe in ICI also, this is how you basically need to submit your projects. To, name of person, report being submitted to, from, name and department, date of submission, acknowledgement, a list of people and organizations that helped you in collecting data, research, and other aspects of getting the report done. Now, this is usually, I think, MBA students do that. They're supposed to submit the reports, and that's how they write their report. Okay, then the next page has the table of contents, which has a clear list of sections, subsections of the reports. Now, that one has the entire basically index for the documentation. Then comes the Summary. A summary of major points. Summary of major points, conclusion, recommendations should be written to give a general idea of the report. Then there is an executive summary that people write, wherein you basically give the information in brief that what this project is about. Then you come to the introduction. Explain a problem and make it clear to the reader why the report has been written. Now, in introduction, it is very, very important to basically explain. So these are two formats of official report writing. This is the second one. Then you talk about the findings. What did you find from the information collected, material used, methods utilized, and results arrived? Conclusions include implications and inferences of your findings based on the facts described in the main body. The importance of the study is discussed in this section. Recommendations give suggestions and proposals based on information and data collected. Now, bibliography and references give a list of all the sources you have referred within your text. Now, official report writing does not have any specific or fixed format. Many organizations have their own formatting styles. Many colleges also give their own format. This is what you need to follow to submit your projects. But this is a weekly format to be followed. Are we clear? Look at this financial report, which is the official report. So let me take you through the one example each from the study material and see how it is written and how it is different from one another. First, let's talk about the newspaper. Look at this one. Now we have a headline here. Daughter of Gardner's tops board exams is the headline. Then we have by the one who has written it, by Riya Sharma. Then we talk about the place and the date. Okay, I want you to quickly read this and see how it is written. Just go through it this much and give me like 30 seconds. I'll just be back. Okay, so if you look at this, you have a place and date mentioned. Then look at the details given. Suman Naik, the daughter of Municipal Gardener Om Naik, has topped Odisha Board Senior Secondary Examination with 98.8% marks. Her sex has been lauded by the staff members of the school, the government senior secondary school, Malkaganj, the Odisha Education Board, and the state education minister. Right now, if you look at the first paragraph, there's an introduction. This is what this article, this report is about, and their facts stated, the name of the person, the father's name, how much marks she has scored, and from which board and everything. Right? There's no personal viewpoint here. Now, next come is when her classmates conveyed the news to Suman, she did not believe them. It was only when the school principal called her that the reality sunk in. Suman's father, Om Naik, is overjoyed at the news. He said Suman was always a bright student. I have made all the efforts to provide her with the best education despite my meager means. He hopes that she will be able to continue her education in spite of his financial constraints. Now, Here, it's a thorough investigated report because the reporter has investigated how Suman got this news. So Suman got this news from the classmates, which she did not believe. Then she got a call from college school principal. Then what was her father's reaction? What her father thinks of her, and then that is that. And then Suman attributes success to parents. All of this is factual. Nothing is made up. She said that school teachers had provided her. Now, so investigation also means the proper interview being taken. Now, because she topped her exams, her proper interview was taken, and that has been written in the report. Are we clear? When asked about her plans, Suman says she wished to become a doctor. However, she was unsure if she could pursue her dreams because of financial problems. She hopes that she will be able to secure a scholarship. Now, the Times Group has started an initiative to help Suman fulfill her aspirations. Anyone who wishes to contribute to Suman's education can send the amount by check to Suman Naik Education Fund, the Times of India, NG Road, Bhubaneswar. Right. So now, if you see, this is a complete reporting about an event. So, the class 12 results had just come out, and this girl has stopped. And so, this report is about her. Right. And what is special about her is that she doesn't have enough resources. She's just a gardener's daughter. And yet, she did so well. She worked so hard. Her parents have contributed to it. Right. And then this is about it. Are we clear about this? Any problems? Okay, now next is the magazine report. Now look at the format and look at the content. Okay, if you look, I'm going to just look at your comments once. So I'm just stopping the sharing. Let me just go through that if you're clear with the newspaper report or not. Yes, Gia, it will be mentioned in the exam. That which so basically you can actually find out from the report also the topic also and what you need to write. But otherwise, I think it is always specific that which official report you should official or maximum what you have to write. Swapnali, what exactly do you want me to explain you in Hindi? Okay, I think it's pretty much clear. Let's move on to look at the other one. Now in this, oh, I've not shared it. I always do that. Okay, now this one is a magazine report writing. Just look at the sample. Now look at the heading, look at the, by the author's name, and then this information starts. Now, why we don't mention about the magazines is because magazine has a specific, reach and a specific audience. Whereas a newspaper has a wider audience, and newspapers are basically circulated across the country. There's some newspapers that are circulated across the countries, which is why, and they have national news. So, in newspapers, if something happens in Bombay and Bangalore, and it is going to make a national news, it will be news printed in every newspaper. So, which is why we have to specify the place. But for the magazine writing, we don't need to do that because magazines have a very specific focus. And of course, magazines cover specific things, right? So now this is most probably a school magazine who is covering the annual day. Am I clear? So now look at this. St. Agnes Green Park celebrated its annual day on 2nd May with great fanfare. Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, the Chief Minister of Delhi, was the chief guest at the function. Now, see the details. Who organized the annual day? On what date was it organized? Who was the chief guest? And what was the program? Now, in such programs, you give a sequential information about what all happened. So, like for example, the program began with the lighting of the lamp by the chief guest. Now, go through it, please. Now, so if you look at the details, the first item of the culture program was presented by the primary wing. It was a musical drama on necessity of protecting the environment for the future generations. The little children expressed themselves brilliantly, bringing out the perils of destroying our planet. Now, all of that. So basically, this just goes on and on. Are we clear? Just go through it once, and if you have any problem, then you can ask me. Okay, now quickly let's look at the report for the official reports. Now, official reports also means financial reports that which I'm sure CAs are involved into, and this has a lot of facts and figures and the data. Right now, there's a very short version of it given as below, but usually financial reports are like really long. There's too much of data. There's so many pages involved. There's too much. Okay. Now here again, if you look at Nuva Pharmaceutical announces. Okay, now this financial report is basically being printed in a newspaper. Some companies release their financial reports for public to go through. Right, so it's that. Now the place is mentioned here, the date is mentioned here, and the entire report is there. So even if it's not newspaper or magazines, they release it for their shareholders. Now look at the company's name and what are they announcing. Now, first quarter, what is the financial summary? Like what all happened in the quarter wise and the year wise. Then the first quarter of financial report, this is how it is written. There's a proper tabular format because again, there's a lot of data involved, a lot of numbers involved. So that's how the financial reports are done. Total revenue consisting, then there's a total operating expenses, whatever expenses and whatever things are involved financially, everything has to mention in the report, like what was the revenue on, what was the expenditure, what all types of expenses were done. Now, what interest that company earned. If you look at this, the company earned net interest income of $38,000 for the first 3 months. Then there is the experience, whatever money that came in, that went out, and however it went, what all taxes were paid, whatever was done, and what is at the end of the day, what the company has earned. Everything has to be mentioned. Are we clear? So we did about the magazine report, we did about the newspaper report writing, we did this financial report, which I think is something that is of your use. Once all of you become CAs, I think this is what you will be dealing with the most. Okay. Next is the formal report. Now, this formal report is about any particular project that has been submitted, right? To Mr. Sunil Gupta, Joint Secretary. Then from, date, subject, acknowledgement, and then the content starts. Okay. Then there's a summary that what this project is about. Then there's introduction. Then there are causes. What are the causes? What are the effects? What is the solution that needs to be taken or what has been taken care of already? And the conclusion, and then bibliography from where all this report has been prepared, from examples from where these points have been taken and however this has been done. Are we clear that this is about the different types of reports that we will be studying in details how to write them? Yes, Neha, I will be taking the rest of the sessions. Okay, so okay, I'll just repeat myself a little slowly because some of you thought that I'm very fast. What we just discussed and what we've discussed in past 1 hour is we discussed about what report writing is. We discussed about what are the features. Can you give me any 3 features of report writing? Can you quickly write down in a query box any 3 features of report writing? We discussed about 6 or 7. I'm waiting. Bitu, we will be discussing all of that. I just showed you the samples of reports so that you know what you're going to learn about. After this, we will be learning about the steps of writing, how to, basically organize your information, and what is the format and how you fit in the information to the format. So we will be doing everything. This discussion was just to give an idea what type of reports are there. Presented after thorough investigation, very good. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your name. Trisheling Sushyang. Okay. So presented after, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Newspaper, official report, factual representation of data in particular format, decided for target audience. Okay, Anshika. I said features, not the format, Akriti. Sequence, specific events of occurrence, information with evidence. Good, son. Written in concise manner for a specific audience about a particular event. Very good. It is written in sequential form. It describes important events. All right. After investigation. Very, very, very well done. Well researched, written in sequence form. Concise, officially written, particular audience. Good. All right, guys. This is very good. Brilliantly done. So after that, we discussed about 4 types of reports actually. We discussed about the newspaper writing, which is just about any information, any event that took place, any occurrence that took place. It could be any kind of occurrence, like political, something happened with a common man, something that there's a change with the the companies, some companies acquiring some other company, any kind of report, right? Then comes the magazines, which basically covers mostly the events, right? Something is happening, something major is happening. Maybe a film launch is happening. Maybe a premiere of a film is happening. A fashion show happened. Award function happened. So all of that. Then comes the financial reports that I showed you. So financial report is also part of the official report, ideally, because okay. So that is also part. Now, financial reports have a lot of number crunching, a lot of numbers, because that has to be, needs to specify every kind of thing that is basically part of finances of a company. Then comes the official reports when, for example, any government has taken up any project of maybe, planting trees across the city, right? So they need to, basically submit the report maybe after the completion or before starting, that what they will be doing, what all things they need, what kind of support they need, and what is their action plan, why are they doing this, and what is the timeline for finishing this project. Are we clear? Yes, because starting with any project, you need the basically the budget needs to be approved, the money needs to be approved. You need approvals from so many things. So basically, either you do it before or you do it after that once the thing is done. Like what was their feedback, or was there any problem in doing something or not, and all of that. Now, any problem so far that anybody has? I'm going to take a break at 12 o'clock, and after that, what I will start with is the steps involved, points to remember, and what are the basic steps of writing report writing. So all of this we will be doing after a break. But in the meantime, I'm waiting. If you have any problem, you can ask me now. Monica, I think you get one question or 4 marks or 5 marks from this chapter. Table of content means the index, that what all is there in the report in terms of headings, introduction, causes, effects, solution, all of that. Okay, Rohani, I'm good to hear that all doubts are cleared. Anybody else, if there is any doubt, you can ask me, Videhi. I hope it's cleared. Uh, yeah, financial reports are complicated. I'm sure you'll do it when you learn it in your course, specific courses about finances. Is there any format? Anshika, if you're talking about the word limit, I think the word limit should be not more than 200 words according for your examinations. Yeah, of course, stakeholders do read these reports. You would like to know where you've invested your money and how the company is doing, right? Yeah, but don't worry, Vidisha. It is just for idea. I don't think financial reports come in the exams. It is just to give you an idea about what financial reports are also. All right, so now I'm going to take a 5 minutes break and I will come back and join at 12:05, and then we will quickly start with points to remember. All right, take 5 minutes break. So I got two queries here. One of you has asked wedding card is a formal report. No, it is an invitation. And memorandum is official document. I'm not sure if it is a report or not. It is a just official document. It is not a report. So, and somebody is asked, please tell, do we have to box our report? No, you don't have to box your report. You don't have to box it. It is just because I wanted to create an outline and to be more specific how it looks on the page. So I drew a box, but it is not supposed to be in the box. If you look in your study material also, there is no box made. Are we clear? Can we start?
Mama?
Hmm. Yeah. Okay, now let's start with the points to remember. Okay. Can you all see this points to remember? Okay, now points to remember. I hope this is readable to you. The points. I am telling you this again and again. Please don't send me same thing 10 times. Just like this one boy has done, how to write like steps or passage, ma'am. You have sent this to me 10 times. And I don't even understand why. Hmm. Okay, now points to remember. No place for personal opinions, perceptions, emotions, feelings in our report. Now, like I said, in a report writing, there is no space for personal opinion, perceptions, emotions, and feelings. You are uh, basically stating about that Keep in mind the target audience. You have to keep in mind your target audience. Personal pronouns are not used. Do not use your personal pronouns like, I think or we believe. Nothing. There's nothing personal about report writing. Passive voice is preferably used in writing newspaper reports. Now, I'm sure you have done active voice and passive voice. So, in report writing, you should always use passive voice, not active voice, because you are reporting it. You were not there. Yes. So, you are talking about what happened, not who did it. Right. So, this is why the passive voice needs to be used. Right. Active voice is used for official reports. Now, because you are giving an official report about a project that you are handling or your team is handling, then you can use active voice because you are basically responsible and that is your viewpoint. You guys are dealing with it, so you know how this has to be this thing. Okay. Past tense is mostly used. Of course, past tense has to be used because you are reporting after the event happens. Okay. Language should be clear and concise. Language should be clear and concise. Now, language has to be really clear and concise. Technical jargons must be avoided. Do not use technical jargons. I hope you understand the word jargons. You've done it in vocabulary. Now, jargons, not everybody understands. So do not use that. Try to use your language simple so that people understand. And language has to be clear and concise. You have to write it in a very concise manner rather than, making it too big. Information should be organized logically, coherently, and in chronological order. You should organize your content logically and coherently. Like, do not write something which is not of use, and use a chronological order, use a sequence to write the things. Now, something that is logical that also go with sequence. If something is not in sequence, then how can somebody be logical? Are we clear? Are we clear about points to remember? So just remember, no personal viewpoint, no opinion, no perception. You have to keep in mind your target audience. You should know for whom you're writing. Okay. Then about the passive and active, for newspaper and magazines, you should write passive voice. And for official reports, you should use active voice. Past tense is mostly used. Of course, it depending on the event, but usually past because you are reporting the event after it happened. Language. Now, this goes without saying for any writing skill, the language should be clear. I will not say simple because that depends on your audience and how you want to write it. But it has to be at least clear and concise. Why concise? Because at times if you write something detailed, you confuse the things. You go round and round and round, and so you get like all confused. And sometimes readers don't get long sentences and long paragraphs. Technical jargons must be avoided because technical jargons are the technical words and technically vocabulary used. Now, in this case, there could be a possibility that people don't understand that. Information should be organized, logical, coherently, and it should be clear, it should be, organized, and it should be listened. Are we clear? Any problems so far? Now, coherent means basically logical and consistent only. Understood, very good, absolutely clear. And what are the marks for what are the marks for report writing? Is 4 or 5 marks. Okay, can you start to the next thing? Yes, I'll just do that. Now, any writing skill has some specific steps that needs to be followed. If you follow the steps, you will be able to basically write it better. Now, for example, understand. Now, the first step is understand the purpose and the requirement of the report. Now, why you are writing it, what is your purpose? That is very important to understand. Before understanding, if you do not understand your purpose and the requirement for the report, you won't be able to write and you won't be able to do justice to the topic. Gather, choose appropriate sources for information. You need to see from where to get the information for your report writing. Okay, so choose an appropriate sources of information. Choose it very carefully. Then you organize it. Organize, sort out, and select relevant content. Okay, so basically organize, sort out, and select relevant content. Analyze. Analyze is the material collected. You basically analyze what material. So first you organize and sort out what is relevant, what is irrelevant for you. Then you basically analyze that what material has been collected critically. Look what is relevant for you, what you need to put in the report, and what you just need to minus it. Then comes the presentation part. Now, presentation part is make sure words are clear. Events are in sequence, check grammar and spelling. Are we clear? Then comes the review and redraft. You basically review what you have written and then you redraft it again, of course, if required, or you reorganize it and then you write your first draft. So the steps are understand, gather, organize, analyze, presentation, review, and writing. Right? So there are about like 7 steps that you need to follow. And this is mostly same for all sorts of writing skills. You need to, understanding is very important to start with. Collecting information, gathering information is very important again, from where you're doing, from which sources you're doing, are those sources reliable or not? Then organize it. Now, sources. Sources could be anyone. It could be our books, it could be internet, it could be humans also. So when these crime reporters or whenever these newspaper reporters are reporting for someone, they have the sources out there, right? Who would tell them that, you know, this happened and this is how it happened. This is our information. So these sources have information, right? And just like books have information. Then you organize it. See, make pointers, see in front of you what all you have, and then you sort out and select that what all you need in your report. Then you analyze that material more critically and see that what is relevant. Is it true or not? Then you come to presentations. Make sure you use clear words. Events are in sequence. Check grammar and spelling. For any writing skill, grammar and spelling is very important. Never, never, never get this thing wrong. Then comes review and redraft. Basically, you get a perspective on first draft, redraft, and reorganize after review. Right. First draft should be written based on information gathered. Are we clear? कर लिया? Okay, great. So you understand all of these steps? Jolly, it depends on what question has been given to you and what format has been given to you. It could be either newspaper or magazine, mostly on official also it can come, but not financial, I'm sure. Word limit is 200 words. All right, I'll just take care of it with you. Just give me 2 minutes. Okay, I hope it's better now. Okay. Prem, I will tell you about the questions later. First, let's understand that what report writing is, how we write it. Once you can ask me what you want to ask. Anshika, I'll take up those questions. And formal report will be given because that is of the most relevant to you as per your course. Perfect, Chanchal, very good. Vedehi, yes, the last tip's presentation as per the table. Okay, now another thing that I want you to do is okay. Now there is a flow chart that we need to follow. Any more questions, guys? Were they for exams just in your mind? What we are teaching you right now is that when you write a formal and real reports, right? But for exams, of course, just organize the thoughts in your mind, because you won't have this much of time to, basically write in draft and then start, formalizing the content. But whatever steps we are teaching you right now, is this is how the writing skills are written when you're writing for real. Okay, this is how you write. So of course, organization has to be in mind. There is nothing called as informal report, Amit. How is it different, Vansh? How report writing is different from class 12 and in CA Foundation? What's the difference? You must have done newspaper and magazine at that time. The format remains the same. Of course, you did not do financial and did not do the official reports, because that's not required for a class 12 student to do. Okay, now let's go through another flow chart, which is in your study material itself. Now, this flow chart basically explains about the sequence involved in report writing. Now, there are two types of report. In a two-way it is written. 1 second, guys. I think there's a lot of noise. 1 second. Now, there are two-way report writing is done. One is one kind of writer basically observes the event and collates the information. Then event and happening is there. Then this, basically this report writing is written for general reader. And then this report particular is to bring the knowledge or information to the public domain, mainly published in newspapers or magazines. Now, this is the kind of report that is written for newspapers and magazines. Here, somebody basically observes the information, collates the information, and it is about some event or happening. It is for general reader. It is to bring the knowledge, information to public domain, right? Now, the another kind of report is where you research, investigates, or gather information. Basically, you get into details of the topic. Then you have a particular issue, problem, or phenomenon in mind. It is for defined readers. It is not for everyone. It's for defined. Like, for example, you have a lot of fine scientific reports and researches about things. It is not for general reader. It is for the defined purpose readers. Then there is the specific purpose, generally not published or published for select audience. It is generally not published for select, or it is like annual reports of the companies. This is not for general public. It is for very specific people. It is only published for specific people. They would publish it in the form of some documentation and get it circulated, or maybe send it over emails these days. Am I clear? So these are two kind of reports that are written. Now, I'll just repeat here the few really good points here about steps of report writing. Why understanding is very important. Understanding is important that what this report is for and why it is being written and who is going to be a target audience. For whom are you going to write this? So that clarity is very important in mind. In gather the information, you have to ensure that your source is authentic and reliable. If you're looking at some book, that has to be really good book. If you're speaking to somebody who's giving information, that you have to make sure that the information is correct. And so this is a very time consuming task also, because gathering information is not easy. That is the step that takes most of the time to find out information. Then you have to choose your appropriate sources and get all the information, right? Organize your content. Now, this requires again a great deal of time because you need to sort out, select the content. You have to group together points that are related. So, you have 5 points. You basically put them into categories that, these 2 points can come together, these 2 points can come together. So you basically group them together. They can be together under sections or chapters. Then you decide the sequence in which they have to present it. After you have all the information, then you decide the sequence. But make sure your choosing of the the order is logical and easy to follow. The reader should not be confused with what needs to be done. What is this person writing anyway? Clear? Then you analyze your material. Now, this is again a very different perspective of things. You have to look through carefully at the material, think about the flaws and limitations in evidence gathering, conflicting data. If there is a data which is conflicting, which has something not in common, then you need to delete that. Conclusions that you write, that has to be verified. You cannot write wrong things. Right? So when you start writing the report, what happens now after your report has been organized into proper sections and headings, then you start with your first draft. Now this one, some people write some big content pages at the end because by the end of the report, they know it even better that what needs to be done and what exactly this report is about. But whatever it is, just write clearly and concisely. Avoid irrelevant, lengthy, confusing explanations. You should always avoid lengthy and confusing things. Then review and redraft. Take a break before you review your first draft. It is essential to get any appropriate perspective. You may rewrite or reorganize your sections. Assess the report without any bias from the perspective of a reader. You have to see the clarity, simplicity, and relevance. There are 3 points that you need to see when you're writing a report because your report will be going to the general public. So see if it is clear. Yes. It's simple to understand. Yes. Is it relevant what you've written? Perfect. Do that. Now in presentation, you need to make sure that there are chapters, sections, or subheading, which are very clear and accurate. Ensure proper sequencing is there, proper numbering is there, proper sections is there. Then you verify that you have mentioned all the sources. Check your report for errors of spelling or grammar. Error in presentation or expression can create a very poor impression or can make the report incomprehensible. Are we clear? Is there any problem that any of you have in the report? I know I was a little quick. If there is any problem, you can ask me. I'll repeat myself again. How to recognize reference? What does that mean? No problem. Okay. I don't understand, Videyu. What do you mean by how to recognize reference? What does that mean? Yes, we have to use past tense in the report writing. Yes, Aditi. Next, any problems? झाड़ू लग रहा है बेटा बच्चों. Sorry. Here, if you see this report, which was the official report, this one, sample formal report about Ganga River Cleaning Project, right? So in this project, if you see, it's given towards the end. Bibliography and references. Now, this particular report was prepared after looking at these particular references, Conway Cameron. And if you look at the publication number, you look at the topic that was picked up, then there is another report about Ganga. No, I think it should be Ganga. Ganga receives 2,900 million liters of sewage every day. Then there's a water hub. So sometimes the official reports, official reports are prepared when you collate the information. Now, something like this report is talking about the causes and the effects, right? And they're talking about the solutions. Whenever you're finding the solutions, you will be looking at different data, you will be looking at different studies, different findings and books to find out the solution. Am I clear? Any problem so far? Oh, somebody is asking about the word limit. If you look at the questions in your study material also, every report writing question says 250 to 300 words. Yeah, so that is the word limit mostly that will be followed in your exams as well. All right. Now you have to quickly tell me if there is any problem. If not, then we will be quickly looking at an example. Yes, Videhi, references are important part of official reports at least. Okay. Is everything clear so far, whatever we have discussed? Are you clear about the steps that have been taken and how you should write the report writing and difference between newspaper, magazine and official reports? Are you clear with all of that? If you guys have any problem, you can ask me now so that I can take up the doubts, and otherwise we'll just move on. Okay, great. Good to see that everything is clear to you guys and you have no problems. All right, so let's do one thing now. Let's see how much you guys have understood. I will pick up a question from study material for you guys, okay? Without looking at the answers, be honest. Without looking at the answers, just look at the question and tell me which format would you use in this one. Okay, look at the second question. Or maybe the first question also. Your institute, Global Business School, organized Organize a seminar on profitable business practices in next decade. Write a report on the seminar for your institute's monthly newsletter in about 150 to 200 words. Now, the hint is research how a seminar is conducted and what the profitable business practices are. You have to tell me which format would you use for such a report. Magazine, newspaper, or official, but do not look at the answers. So when I suggest you don't get into too much details for financial report because that's very complex, that is something you will understand when you will be doing your financial chapters. You know, you would be able to understand it better. You know how you can make it. It was just to give you an idea what financial reports are about. Magazine. Somebody said official. Why official? It is about a seminar. Why official? It's about a seminar. Seminar is also kind of an event, right? So this is what it is about. It's a magazine report. Perfect. Very good. Now, for such a report, okay, let's go for the next one. You are the Cultural Society President of your college. The principal of your college, Mr. Subhash Kapoor, thinks that the increasingly westernized world, students should not lose touch with their culture and values. He has asked you to suggest ways and means to familiarize students with the great aspects of Indian culture. I'm doing the second question now. Perhaps prepare a report of 250 words for the principal suggesting the areas that could be covered, the way and means they be introduced into college life. Now, magazine or newspaper? Magazine, very well. Now, let's go for one step ahead in this question. If you have to write the report, what would be the title of the report? Oh, no, it's not magazine. Is it? Look again. Look at the question again. Look at the question again. I don't think it's magazine report. It is not the magazine report. Read the question again. This is exactly why I'm doing this exercise. Now you all have read from the answers the formal report. Now, what is the difference here? The principal has asked the president to prepare a report. The principal has not asked to, write it in the newspaper or publish it in the magazine to what we can do. The principal is asking the president of the cultural society to give him the ways and means to familiarize students in the college, right? What all steps can be taken. So it is a formal report from the president of the society to the principal, right? This is not for anybody else. So because you are a president and you are a student and you are writing to the principal, so this is a formal report. Am I clear? Any problem so far, guys? Now you understand where the problem was? Divishri, you will be reading about magazine, newspapers, formal, all three. You can get any three out of these. Financial, no, you will not get financial for sure. It's not newspaper, it is formal. Why newspaper? Look at the question. Okay, if you need to find out what kind of format to be followed, please read the question carefully. If the question, you read the question wrong, then the answer is wrong. Right? Okay, next question. We're just doing this exercise today, that which format to be followed. You are Mr. Sunil Kaushik, the administrator of Gyan Jyoti Institute. Certain areas of the infrastructure of your institute need to be restructured and revamped. You have been asked to prepare a report on the matter for the managing committee of the institute, stating the specific buildings that need facelift and the areas that need attention. Use formal report format. Now, in this one, it is already mentioned. Okay, but why formal format? Give me a reason that why we are using formal format here. You have to give me a reason why we're going to use formal format here. Saloni, have you, okay, but it is already mentioned. What I'm asking is, why do you think we're using formal report? The administrator has been asked to fill the report. Perfect, Saloni. Good answer. Gia. So Saloni says the administrator has been asked to submit a report about the problem to the managing committee. That's a good answer. This is why it's a formal report. Okay, good answers, guys. I like the responses. Very good. Now, next question, please. No, not the fourth one. Let's look at something else. Fifth one. As a sports reporter, Ajay Singh, write a report on the one-day cricket match between Australia and India at Melbourne in 250 to 300 words. Okay, so most of you say newspaper. Is that right? Yes, it is right. It is a newspaper because obviously about the match, you write it in the newspaper, not in a magazine. News cricket matches, especially the international ones, are our national news, right? Now, for this specific question, tell me what will be the title of the report. If you have to write the report on this topic, what will be the title? And without looking at the answer, tell me what all will you mention in this report? What all pointers you will be covering in this newspaper report about the match? What all is there that you need to mention? That is a match between Prem, who told first. Prem, you told first. It's a one-day cricket match between Australia and India. Very good. You talk about the teams, which two teams are playing, of course, and next about the team scores, man of the match, overs run. Very good. What else? The man started at what any special event that took place during the toss, the results. Very good. So you talk about it. Who won the toss and the results, of course. You also talk about if any particular cricketer had a good day or a bad day, basically. If there is one cricketer who made a century or maybe 50 points, took crack wickets, whatever the good points, or somebody who was out at the first balls. So you mentioned about these things. India beat Australia by 3 wickets. Very good, Amit. Good, Deepika. So you talk about the team members, referee, the pitch report, and when it is conducted, and how did the match go. Right? I think sports reports are pretty easy also because everything is there, like right out there. So somebody who's observing the match can write about it, right? But yes, you have to write about, and there's nothing personal about it. Even if you do not like something, you're too passionate about cricket and you thought that this was wrong, you cannot write about it. Even if you think that something wrong happened at the field, you can write about it, right? You can talk about the specific incident that happened. Like sometimes the umpire needs to, recheck if it was out or not out, if it was a ball or it was a no ball, right? So that kind of events you can capture, that kind of a moment you can capture and say that, the umpire was confused and later declared as a no ball, right? I mean, I'm not a cricket fan, so I don't know much about cricket, but this is what I know that people talk about. Priya, I don't get your question. Is there any group? What does that mean? All right, so this was about the cricket match, and this was about today's class. Now, in next class, we will be discussing the reports again in details, and we will be practicing the questions. I will be taking one question each, show you one sample, then we'll practice about it. That how you can improve your writing skills. We will discuss about that. How you can actually. Somebody asked me how you can write or speak English fluently. The only way to do with the language is to practice. Be it be any language, if it's English, Hindi, any regional language of India, or anything, you basically you need to practice. If you do not practice, you cannot do it, right? Anything that comes, like even I would say maths, that also comes with practice, right? So the more you practice, the better you get. And let me know how was today's session. You can also fill up the feedback form if there is any these days. And yes. For your exams, just make up information. What we need to see is that you are aware about the features of report writing. For example, that you have given a presentation, you presented in this way that this report was written after a thorough investigation and the proper fact check, and you're not using any personal pronouns, you're not giving your personal views, your language is good, your grammar is good, there's no spelling errors. This is exactly what we check in the exams. We don't check in exams if the information is true or not. We understand in the examination hall you cannot get true information about the topic. How? You don't have internet, you don't have anyone to talk to. That is the art. You just need to make up, you need to keep the points in mind that in my report writing these points need to be there, right? It should look like that it's a well-researched report. The grammar should be good. There should not be any spelling error, and no personal view, opinion, and interpretation. I'm mentioning. So that is the difference between article writing and the report writing. Are we clear? Anything else, guys? Anything else that you want me to explain to you? Thank you, Jia, Vaidehi, Chanchal, Deepika, Arsatya, Tanvi, Vaidehi. Oh, that criminal crime reports and newspaper reports, no? Obviously. And yes, I'm sure in a formal way also, such reports are submitted. Like forensic reports, that's a formal report, right? That is submitted to the departments. So, but in newspapers, whenever there is any crime that happens and then information is given, that is a newspaper report. All right, I'm super glad that you all enjoyed today's session. And I hope I was able to clarify all of your doubts and you understood what order was done today. But you still have like 2 days. Our next class is on Tuesday. My suggestion is please go through the topic again, go through the at least concepts again. If there is any problem, you can ask me on Tuesday. Otherwise, we'll start again. I don't get it, which is in your question. All right, so we will meet on Tuesday now. In the meantime, please take care, study well, and make the most out of these classes because these classes are for you guys. And I hope you are taking the most. I hope you are attending all the classes and all the sessions sincerely and seriously, because these things will go in a long run, right? All right, good day, guys. Have a good day and take care. I'll meet you on Tuesday now.